All right, how's everybody doing tonight? Okay. All right, we are doing lighting lab tonight. Gee, I can figure that out. Okay, we got lights over here. We got lights over here. No badge. You're on salary tonight. Everybody's working overtime. It means absolutely nothing. Okay, so hope you brought your smiles tonight and your cameras for sure. And I believe I told you last week we would be working in groups. This semester I'm going to try something different. Prior semesters, what I've done is I've asked one person to be the model for the hour while everyone else takes the photo. Tonight we're going to do something different. I've done this before in other settings. We're going to have each group decide who's going to be the person in that group to take the photo in that group. And that's how we're going to tackle this tonight. We're going to set up in two categories for the lighting lab. Once we go over the lighting lab on the overhead, we'll have the lights up here that we'll use here, the umbrella lights, will be one group or one set. The next set will be up here with the box lab for the macro photography that you can practice with, which already has a little tripod up here for you. And if you did not bring a tripod, I do have one up in my office. So anybody bring your tripod? Okay, cool. So all we need is one actually. You just need one tripod. Okay, cool. So we just need one tripod. Whoever brought your tripod, just leave it up here if you don't mind. You don't need to use a tripod, by the way, for portrait photography. I would like you to try at least a couple shots with a tripod and maybe a couple without a tripod is how you're going to do it when you come up here. And so let's go and get started. You'll notice in the background, thank you, there's music playing. Whenever you do a portrait lab, you want some type of music in the background, preferably something you hear a lot in all different types of public places, like 80s music is pretty okay. You're not going to offend anyone usually. You might offend some people, but most people will be okay with that. So something kind of easy listening type of stuff is good usually. You want that in the background. Secondly, you want a kind of a dark, it's usually a darker room for portrait lab. And you want it to be natural and just laid back. We've all been in portrait settings maybe where it's been very strict and stiff and weird, maybe would describe it best. Anybody been in those portraits before? I mean, from high school on, right? Or maybe prior to that, grade school even. They tell you to hold that pose. Oh, okay, get ready. And then they take a flash and you're not even smiling. Or you have a weird look on your face or a scowl on your face. Yeah, we've all taken those photos. I want the user that I'm taking a photo of to be relaxed, natural facial expressions, natural poses. Really doesn't matter what I think. It matters how the subject feels because that will come across in the portrait, how the subject feels. Now, nobody else might not know it, but the subject will always remember when they're looking at that photo years beyond. They'll remember that very day, right? When mom or grandma forced everybody to get in a line, get your photo taken, and just moments before, everybody was literally screaming, yelling, pulling each other's hair out, blood-curdling screams, and then you get this picture-perfect pose for just a millisecond. And you're like, people go, wow, that was a great picture. And you're thinking, while they're talking about it, you're twitching and not wanting to remember that day. In fact, you might have blacked it out possibly, right? Anybody have a family photo like that you can remember? It's amazing though. Usually those photos turn out pretty good usually. So, but the experience is not that great. And so I'm all about the experience when it comes to photography. And so next week, I did remind everybody via email, it's on your announcements as well, is the portrait lab where you're coming in. Tonight we're doing the lighting lab, next week's portrait lab. So hopefully you're going to invite some folks. Raise your hand if you've invited some folks already. Raise your hand high real quick. You've invited some people already. Great. If you've invited folks and they're not going to be able to make it or whatever, or you couldn't find anyone to come, that's fine. You'll share those people that you do have come? Yes. Question. Can you invite what? Your kitty? Yes. Well, no, but what do we just take photos with him or like somebody holding him? Because if it's just him, then he's just going to go crazy. However, but if the kitty works best. If it works best for somebody to hold the kitty, that's what we want to do. Yes. Yeah, because I think I mentioned this to you guys. Maybe I didn't, but pets are always allowed in the photo shoot. So we generally shoot the pets first and children first. Anybody invite some kids to come to the photo shoot? Great. So they'll be always first, and we'll get them in and out as quick as possible. If you are with the family that you're inviting, after you take your photos, you're more than welcome to leave with them when they leave. Okay, you don't have to stay for the entire time. Question? Yes, definitely. Yeah, definitely. You could do a family photo, maybe split it up if you want to, but for sure have your family photo. Definitely, yeah. We're going to be meeting. We're going to be meeting in the middle. I'm in the middle of this building, and the wall that we'll have room to take a photo of on each side is about the whole size of this wall here. So we're good. We have plenty of room. Plenty of room. Okay. So pets are welcome. Family members are welcome. Friends are welcome. Enemies are welcome. Also, we'll talk about it here in a second, but photo props are welcome as well. So if the person's into sports, they can dress up in their sport gear or bring their bat and glove, bring the football, bring the basketball, running shoes and the running outfit. If they play guitar, they play bass, they play trumpet, they play whatever, bring the instruments with them. Take photos in their natural environment. Okay? Okay, so let's go and get started. I'll turn down the volume here for a second. Got a few things to go over before we break up into groups here. There it is. Got a PDF, I think, or a website, Prezi, I believe, we're going to look at. Okay, here we go. It's loading. Okay, let's go full screen. Okay, everybody see that? So using lights is what we're going to go over in this Prezi here. That's an actual picture of these lights in this room a couple years ago, I think, or last year, I believe, when I did this one. These umbrella lights cost, with a pair, for about 75 bucks. You can get them fairly reasonable. And I've used these for probably 5 years now, 6 years, something like that, with the same set of original bulbs. And I probably used it about 100 times outside of this class. And so real versatile, really, they've been banged around a lot and it's still going. So before you leave tonight, you can jot down the company name. In fact, I'll just give it to you now if you want to. It's Smith Victor is the company name, smithvictor.com. They a lot of times have sales on the website, like web-only type sales. I recommend that. I think it's an Illinois company. And so definitely recommend them. Let's go back to the very beginning if I could. Okay. So what does lights do? Glad you asked. First thing is they add softness to the lights. These umbrella lights add softness. They add shadow. They add depth. They're fairly cheap. Two types of umbrella lights. You've got reflective, the one we're using, that actually has a reflective insides here. And then you also have one called see-through or shoot-through. They're usually white and are the ones I recommend getting first, and they're around $20 each, the shoot-through ones. And you can actually get them on that same website. And they're real portable. You usually only need one to start with, and you can take them anywhere. A lot of cars actually have plug-ins you can plug in. You can use that if you're out in the country or something, or some portable electrical outlet you can find. That's great. You can probably also look up at Camera Craft here on Prairieville. If you've not been there, they've got examples of them. And I think they have some sales on both as well. So that'd be a good place to buy them as well. Reflective, black on the outside, silver reflective on the inside. The closer the light is to the reflective material, the closer the light, the wider out the light goes. The further out, the more narrower you can make that scope, the more softer it is. So we'll experiment with that tonight. Here's what a see-through looks like. It basically, you would have the subject could be on the other side of the umbrella, basically to the right, upper right corner. So they'd be like this side of the umbrella to where you get more of a softness light to it, a softer light to it. As far as backdrops, the one I'm using just a plain black cloth. I got at Walmart for like $5. You can go there and get any material you want to at Walmart, by the way. You don't need to go to an expensive camera shop. And you can find really cool patterns that you want at a fairly reasonable rate. If you look at the discount area in Walmart where they have the cloth material for sewing, my mom was a seamstress, and so that's why I know about all this stuff. You can get a lot of material for photography as far as backdrops at Walmart much cheaper than anywhere else. And you can actually get more versatile patterns than you get at a camera shop as well. And if you get cold at night, you can use it to wrap up at the photo shoot. Okay, so this one's like a kind of a velvety kind of material, but I definitely recommend that because you can get the same type of thing at a camera shop for like $200. Pretty much the same deal, but you're just paying for the name and that's about it, and the brand. Don't recommend that. I've never bought one at a camera shop. I've always bought them at Walmart or any other fabric store here in town. Works as well. You can get a lot of fabric stores here in town. This is if you tilt your head to the left, you get to see this one. Tilt it to the left. The picture should be that way. Anyway, this is the Lightbox we talked about last week where you put small objects. So if you have anything tonight like a ring or anybody bring any trinkets, by the way, tonight? Any trinkets? Jewelry's fine. Yeah, you can use that. That's fine. You can use jewelry in there. You can bring in a pencil and put it in there. Any small object you can put in there. Your set of keys, anything like that you can play with when you're coming up here. And so we'll practice putting the object on the blue background. The lights are on both sides of the light box, and you can adjust the lights by up or down, turning them on or off. And then I did put up here a tripod, a mini tripod. All of this comes with the light box, and this was at Walmart about 6 years ago. I bought this, and I think it's around the same price, around $20-25. Okay, and so you can purchase that there fairly reasonable, and they still have them, if I'm not mistaken. So placement for lights, experiment with them. That's what you'll do in your groups tonight. Turning one on or off, just while you're there, to give you a little lesson here on it. These run off your flash on your bulb on your camera. They're called slave and master, meaning when your flash goes off on your camera, both of these go off at the same time. Okay, it recognizes your flash. Here is a power button here. Once you turn it off, what I generally do is I'll turn it away from you. When you turn it off and you're not going to use it, because it's on right now, I'll turn it off. Even when you turn it off, sometimes you can go one more time. What I mean by one more time is there's a little red button here, and you push that to test it. So when you turn it off, you can test it to make sure it's off. When you turn it back on, before you use the flash, turn it back on, you'll see little green and red lights show up. Here you can't see them there, but there's little green and red lights that show up. You can press the red button just to make sure it's working. Just turn your head away from it because it will give you the flash thing. So that's the power switch. So you can experiment with bringing the umbrella up and down. To move the umbrella closer, there's a button right here, hand screw. So you can come closer or further away. I'll have your groups practice with that. You can also bring this down some, bring it up. Do I know? Yep, comes with the stand, comes with everything you see here. The default placement for these lights, when you first take a photo, to experiment with your camera lighting and the room lighting. I'll show you the default setting for most portrait. This will be your default when you come up. It's about 3 to 4 feet from the object, from the subject, pointed towards them, like so. It's usually the default right there. Okay? And what that's going to do is reflect right on the subject. The other thing you can do is you can move these and bounce them against the wall, like so, or towards the floor, kind of away from it to diffuse the light. You can practice with that as well. So default, bounce, turning on and off is how you can play with those lights to see. And every camera is going to be a little different as far as your chip, how it recognizes these lights. As far as a flash mode, full flash mode, if you have full flash mode red eye, you can use that. That way it doesn't put red eye in the people's eyes. So you turn on and off, point ground to saturate for saturation, point to the ceiling for bounce. Again, just experiment with it. So each group is going to do this. You're going to, one at a time, decide who's going to first of all be the guinea pig to take the photos. Okay, that's going to be the first one. Second, once you figure that out, when you come up to this area, and we'll have 3 to 4 in each group, each person will take turns with both of them on, just like this, the default mode. Then turn one off, one on. Then point some to the ground, one to the ground. Point to the ceiling to kind of practice and experiment with that. I do have a chair here. If you want, the person taking the photo can stand up. But let's try first the sitting first to see how it goes, depending on your height. This should cover most. When you're taking the photo up here, you want to make sure and get the entire backdrop in the backdrop of the individual and kind of X out the sides like the walls and above and even the chair. Just kind of get the torso and head is what you're looking for in the photo shoot. So here's some portrait types of shots you can take. And these are things you can naturally tell people when you're taking their photo. The first thing you generally do, I like to do, is you can basically, besides having the music, besides having, maybe some snacks, hors d'oeuvres afterwards, you can have, tell a story, kind of a story about your day, a true story about what went on, maybe something funny, lighthearted usually is what I try to do. And then it gets them kind of, then you ask them, hey, how was your day? Anything exciting went on? And they can share that with you. Then right after you do that, let's say, hey, let's take some photos. And first one's usually the front photo, just face to face, front, looking right at you, because they're already talking to you already, so it's natural. And then say, hey, can you turn to the side? And say, do you have a better side? Some people actually have a better side. They feel like they got a better left side, better right side. You ask them. You let them be the expert in what's the better side. They say, I don't know, do both. But I do know people I've taken photos of that they predominantly do not want the right side of the picture taken or face taken or the left side, one or the other. You just ask up front, do you have a better side you'd like to take a photo of? Look up, look down. These are some other poses. If they have objects next week, they bring like a book or a ball, a bat, a football, whatever that they brought, subject, as an actual object they brought. You can have them looking at the object or whatever while you're taking a photo. Basically, being as natural as possible. Camera settings, portrait mode or aperture mode. ISO, I say lowest setting because of the lights in here, and that should be the case, so around 100, 80, whatever your lowest is. Fill flash mode, because the strobe lights will trigger the flash when you're up here. Make sure when you're taking the photos, only one person taking the photo, because if multiple people are taking photos over here, it'll sometimes not flash at all. It'll be confused. And so just make sure it's one at a time. So that's using lights. Now I got another one I'm going to look at. Oh, that's it. That's using lights. That's it. So let's break up into groups, and then we're going to go ahead on the. While you're not over here doing a group, doing your portraits, I'm going to have you every group play around in this area. What we'll do is we'll do 2 groups at a time. We'll do a group here for this, a group here for this. This group over here, you can experiment. Again, turning these lights on or off are real easy. There's a little switch here to turn them on or off. They are bright, so don't look right into them. These both have white sides on both sides of it to do reflective light through. You don't have to use the tripod. It will be a good idea to bring a chair up here for you guys to sit down and lean your elbows on here, though. You can do that. That works fine. And, okay, without further ado, we're going to break this up into 3 or 4 groups, I think. I think we're good with that. So let's see here. Let's see what the room is here. I think we're going to do 3 groups of 4 and a group of 3. So let me just ask real quick. Well, I'll just do it this way. I'll just randomly choose you guys. It'll be easier that way. Okay. So on this side of the room here, you 3 and you are all one group. Then you 4, the rest of the back, you're group 2. You guys are group 1. Let's see. Group 3, you, and you. I'll take it back. You 2, I'll put you 2 together. 1, 2, 3. You 3 are going to be a group. You 3 right there are going to be a group. And then you 2 back, and right here is going to be a group. Okay? So it should be, we have group 1, group 2. You guys are group 3, and you guys are group 4. Okay? So let's have group 1 over here first. Group 2 over here. And then everybody else can enjoy the music. If you need to go take a drink, you may do that.
I like to get the optimal flash. I put the red eye on, but
Red eye flash. Red eye full flash is all you need to worry about. I'll put this chair up here.
okay. So now when you say red eye full flash,
Do what now?
I want to know what that means.
Full flash?
Yeah.
You should have your full flash mode on your camera.
Which one?
Well, it'll actually be on your menu generally.
Yeah, that's what I was gonna say. It's not on that. I have red eye on, and then there's the flash.
Yeah.
This is actually.
No, actually, I was worried about the class before this because
I rarely ever use a flash.
Oh, that was cute.
I mean, the flash will automatically go on if the lighting is right,
It will.
but it's not a fill flash.
Yours might not have a fill flash. I don't
Yeah,
know.
it's pretty old.
There we go.
Oh, good, you found it.
You got full auto. You're in full auto mode.
Yeah.
Let's try it with that and see how it works.
Okay, so I need to put auto on here.
Yeah, do autofocus. And you guys can do, here's your tripod, right? I'll let you set it up if you want to.
Oh, okay.
And you guys can figure out who's going to be the
I might as
model,
well since I don't have my camera.
That'd be
Maybe the
great.
model?
I don't
Yes.
have my camera. I forgot.
Oh, you still get
so-
to take photos though, right?
Okay, and I will put up on the overhead the different poses you could take. So whoever's going to be taking the first photo while she's getting that set up, you can go and start talking about your story of the day. Remember the story of the day that you have, the funny story.
What funny story? My funny story is I had to
You can
suffer
tell one.
through a class before this that I hate. That's about the funniest it gets for today.
And you survived it.
Barely.
So
Barely.
Nikki's not here today.
Yeah, she probably
I don't
forgot again.
understand that either.
I don't know if she's still even turned
Nicholas.
anything in.
There's the different settings up here at the top.
Crazy. You know?
Is there a certain amount of pictures you're supposed to take? Is there a certain amount of pictures?
These poses up
I
here.
understand why she
The
can't.
front side, look up, look down.
She's like
That's the 4 I want you to take for sure. But then also you have the different lightings you're going to do. You're going to turn both of them are beyond, then one be off,
See,
and
I'm
then
using a
practice on the
chintzy little
moving of
tripod.
them.
This,
Like,
you know
you
what, I
actually
thought
have
this
to
was that
spin.
garbage.
And then what about for this?
That's like,
This was
I
practice.
know,
You guys have to
I
take
know,
this
I found it in the
apart.
garbage
It's fine.
years and years ago. Company was,
Lens cap would
company
help.
was throwing, they were like undergoing some
sparkle in your
renovation
eyes, you
and
know?
they just.
On the
threw it
photo
away.
settings for you guys over here, as far as the lights, I want everybody to do both of your umbrellas first, right, with both lights on. Then you're going to practice with one of the lights off. Then you're gonna practice with moving the umbrella up or down and bouncing the light.
It doesn't have a level, but.
And I want you to take at least 5 to 10 pictures each person. Okay, 5 to 10 pictures, and then the other 2 people while you're waiting can be manipulating the umbrellas. So you can go to that one, you can come over here, and you can be the umbrella person.
Do you want to do them portrait then? I mean, portrait size, as opposed to landscape then?
It'd be portrait, yeah. Best be portrait probably in this case. And you just want his torso.
Do a little bit of adjusting. Are you just gonna stand? You're not gonna use the couch on?
Yeah.
You can lean it back further against that curve on that blue. You know where it goes back?
Oh,
And
no,
you
it's
can-
all right.
You can bring that little blue cloth out towards you a little bit. It'll stretch it a little bit more. Or it'll have a little bit more curve to it. But you're not gonna hurt anything.
Well, I probably will.
You're not gonna hurt anything, believe me. There you go.
I don't really know.
Yeah, that'll work.
All right.
Perfect.
Now, we can turn the lights on and stuff like that, right?
I think they are.
These are on.
Oh, yeah.
That chair, can you pull that chair up?
Oh, really?
Really low. Yeah, it's like super low.
And you can reposition those lights if you need to. If there's a shadow you don't like.
Yeah, there's
Just a
You
little
can move
bit.
the lights up towards you maybe. You know, just grab it here. It's not hot here. Grab it here.
See, I've always been confused why on is the line when a completed circuit would equal electrical flow. It doesn't make sense to me.
Oh, wow, that was good. I like that.
Are you going being scientific on everybody? All right, so
That's how I am.
okay. So
How
now,
old?
when I do this, it's just supposed to trigger the flash.
Yeah, I'll keep an eye.
Oh, okay.
Thanks, I've never done that. Okay.
See, I'm just waiting to be blinded,
So
so.
what other classes do you have with Nikki?
None. So,
Did they fit
nope,
it?
yeah.
None?
Nope.
Okay, look a little over.
I'll take like one.
Smile, I'm so happy. Okay, look down. Pensive, thinking about electric synapses or whatever you're talking about.
Call it a day.
You know, the reason that is so funny is the paper I was just working on for the last class involved brain chemistry and synapses.
Nice. Okay, turn to the one side so I can get you. You can look at me. You can look. Just look off in this direction. What do you think about? You don't have to smile all the time. Think. Oh, that was interesting. There, somewhere. Down a little bit. Nice. Fashion photo. Alright, so we try bouncing the light off things.
Sure.
Sing that. Bounce off the wall. Yeah, bounce it down, and then I'll be done, and you guys can take over.
Oh, I know what it is.
There we go. I was like, I don't want to mess it up.
Alright. Spin the other one. Hello, look at me. So what other classes do you have with it besides just this one and what?
No other